who want to take advantage of you, okay? For all the solo independent inventors out there, I'd say that unfortunately, probably 90% of them end up encountering some predator along the path from mind to market. And by predator, what we mean is someone who professes to offer services that actually doesn't do anything for you, okay? So let me give you an example. And some of this is from personal experience. Some of it is from the experience of my clients over 40 years. I was born in Manhattan, in New York City. I worked in the East Coast, Wall Street, large corporations. And then because of a personal family situation, I relocated to California, where I had to kind of reconstruct my career, not based around big business, but based around startups. And then when I moved to Colorado, in Colorado, there's literally nothing there, or there was nothing there when I went there. And basically what it is there's some universities, there's the medical profession and hospitals, things like that. And then there's the startup community. There's nothing there that's traditional like Wall Street or Silicon Valley. It's just a couple of large organizations that dominate the economy. Okay, so what happened was, into that vacuum, a lot of young people ended up being attracted to Colorado because of the marijuana laws. Colorado was the first place that legalized marijuana. And so kids were flocked there. You know, they were just fresh out of college, they didn't know what they wanted to do. They all flocked to Colorado. And so they ended up being stuck in Colorado without really a lot of ways of earning a living, because there just weren't that many job opportunities for these young people. So what ended up happening was, there's a city in Colorado called Boulder, and Boulder for quite some time, it's a tiny, tiny, tiny ecosphere. But for some time, it's been a little hotbed of what I call very small venture capital. So it's nothing like Silicon Valley. It's nothing like the West Coast at all. But people play that kind of fantasy game, and they get involved in startups, and they look for money, and they get taken advantage of by all the people who are trying to sell them services, because there are a lot of service providers out there who are trying desperately to earn a living in their one-man shops. So what I've seen, both on the East Coast and then more importantly on the West Coast when it comes to startups, and also in Colorado when it comes to startups, is a lot of fantasy around what might be available in the way of funding. And it's usually that thing that seduces people into spending their money unwisely. They hold out this phantom of, quote, venture capital, an investor, somebody else with a billfold is going to be there in order to basically spend their money on your behalf and behalf of your invention. And the truth is, for most solo independent inventors, you're kind of all alone. You're stuck being alone, okay? And so because you're alone, the resources that might be available to you if you had, let's say, a financeable startup are just not available. In fact, I've done a presentation here at the Inventors Roundtable a couple of weeks ago where I laid out what the investment possibilities were for solo independent inventors. And they're very, very dim. You're really kind of self-funded. So dollars are precious. That's the thing that inventors always need to understand, that dollars are precious. And because dollars are precious, and it's one of the things I like about Rita's organization, when we first created, the people that helped to create it, they were disgusted with the inventing industry, and they had been in it for a very long time. And so they wanted to form a new group, and one of her co-founders, the only way he would agree to help create a new group was if their motto was, "Don't spend a dime before it's time." Now, you add to that motto, but when it's time, then have the money to spend. Well, if you're going to have the money to spend at the right time, then you better conserve the money until you get to that time. Okay, so what kind of predators are there out there that feed on inventors? I'm going to throw a big one your way. This may shock the hell out of you. Large inventor trade associations are the worst. The ones that are national, what they are feeding arenas. You go into them, you get to know some of the people there. They have services to sell you. They will sell you those services. And guess what? More often than not, the people are terribly dissatisfied with the services they get. And Rita gets a lot of refugees who've been battered by the people that run that organization. That organization has always been controversial. There's always been friction and competition and battles going on to see who controls it. So there's the first watch out. Large national trade associations that proclaim to be protecting the interests of the independent inventor.
One of the things that happened years ago, and those guys that Raymond was mentioning, they were old rocket scientists, literally old rocket scientists. And it was so funny because, the one gentleman came up with don't spend a dime before it's time. And then we added when it's time, you got to step up to the plate. But one of the other guys, and he was the first one that I met doing this, he absolutely made me swear that I would never have the Inventors Roundtable charge an annual fee to come to the meetings. And so, because the group that we were breaking away from, they charged an outrageous annual fee. They made all of their money on the inventors and never helped the inventors get anything accomplished.
Okay, but
it's one of those national organizations, part of it.
There's a caveat here. Okay, so one of these large organizations, they realized that people were going around saying things, we never charge, we never charge. So what they decided to do, they decided to never charge. Well, guess what? You can belong for free, but when you accept their services, you better have someone who can clobber them if you don't get what they promise you that they're going to deliver. Okay, it's really important. The other thing is those large organizations will have all sorts of programs for which they charge, and that will deplete your account, your bank account, really quickly. Okay, who else is out there? Well, you have attorneys, even registered patent attorneys, who don't care about you, but are willing to take your money to write the crummiest, shortest, most narrow patent they can possibly write. And that's because they can write it quickly, take your money, and if you get a patent, you think that you've succeeded. The truth is, just getting a patent doesn't mean you've succeeded. It depends on the quality of the patent. Is the patent too narrow? Is the patent broad enough so that it's going to be much harder for competition to circumvent it and create an invention around your invention that actually can sell more units than your invention can? Okay, so there's another group. You've got to have a patent attorney who is willing to fight with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, because those examiners, their job is to keep you from getting a patent. That's their job. If they let too many patents through, they get demerits. Okay, and so their job is to keep you from getting a patent, which means a really good, well-written patent application will get several office actions back saying you can't have this, you can't have that. And then the attorney that's with you has to craft the counter arguments in order to get around that examiner's arguments. And that's the way the ball bounces in terms of actual quality patent application work by attorneys. Okay, who else is out there to get you? Social media is out there to get you. That's a big one. And a lot of inventors, because they don't have much in the way of marketing dollars after they've spent for a search and a patent and maybe a prototype and even going to a trade show, they might not have any money left over. So they figure, well, I don't have money for a marketing firm, which we'll get to in a minute, but I have a couple of bucks for social media. I'm going to put this post up. I'm going to spend some time, make sure what I'm going to put up is really quality, and then I'm going to boost it. Okay, well, let me tell you what boosting does. Boosting does absolutely nothing except it attracts people who like to go around the internet liking and loving things, clicking little buttons. Okay, that's the truth. That is the God's honest truth. You do not want boosting. If you're going to spend any dollars at all, and I would be very careful about this, you spend your dollars on social media advertising. The problem is, in order to get any real bang for your buck, you're talking about a substantial amount of money. One of the speakers that Rita had on her other show, Made in America, they make what's called flatware, spoons and knives, etc., and it's all made in America. And when they first started their business, they weren't getting very many orders. So what have they decided to do? Well, they spend $20,000 a month with Google in order to promote their business. So you see, in order to get any kind of bang for your buck with social media advertising, you've got to spend a lot of money. It's better than boosting. If you're going to spend any money at all, don't do it in boosting, do it in advertising. But you can see that in order to do that effectively, you need a lot of money. Okay, so let's put that aside, because for most solo independent inventors, that's not an option. What's the next predator out there? Marketing. Oh, and I have a personal story to tell you about marketing. Now, I had a company not too long ago. This company would have given to people like you money to actually create your invention, okay? And it was going to be funded by public investors, not by private equity, not by venture capital, not by angels, but by public money. In other words, retail investors. And what happened was I spent about $200,000 of my own dollars. And a lot of our friends said, look, you got to get a marketing agency. You got to get a marketing agency. And they recommended several of them. We went through them kind of seriatim, one after the other. And the typical ploy with a marketing agency is when you first retain them, and most of them require some kind of upfront money. It might be relatively small, but it's some kind of upfront money. Okay, you make your first payment, they start doing some work. The first thing they do is they roll out a PowerPoint, okay? And the PowerPoint may impress the hell out of you. It really depends on how you react to PowerPoints. But what inevitably happens, if you are excited about their PowerPoint, the next thing they want to do is a deep dive to identify the particular demographic that might find your offering attractive. So that's another PowerPoint that you get after that identifies not your own business, because the first one just tells you what you already know about your business, except they use exciting words so you sound like you're onto something. But the second one is about your target audience. Okay, and that's, that can kind of get you excited. Oh, they've identified a real type of persona, a real type of demographic that is interested in this. But here's where the spoiler comes in, and here's where the disappointment finally sets in. Before they go to the next step, they want a huge amount of money up front. And what they're going to do for that money is they're going to do what's called a framework. And what is a framework? A framework is how they're going to roll out your business on the internet. Okay, well, what's the first step in that framework? They're going to build you a freaking website. You know what? Save your money, go to Wix, get a website for $300, because it's going to be just as good as anything they're going to do. So all of that time, all of that effort, and time is important too. It's not just the money you spend, it's the time that's important. So all of that time and the money has been wasted where you could have actually just gone and gotten a website from something like Wix, okay, for a lot less money. And they can produce websites that are just every bit as good as the website that these people are going to create. So that's how most of them end up flaming out, because you run out of money, or you decide you can't afford to throw any more of your money down a rat hole. And so that's a dead end as well. So what do I recommend based on all of that? And I've been to a lot of trade shows to boot. And some of the trade shows work and some of the trade shows don't work. Let me tell you the ones that don't work so well, especially for solo independent inventors. The ones that don't work so well are the ones that are dominated by people who look like me. Old white men in suits who work for large corporations and could care less about you, okay? I've been with Rita on her trade shows at places like the National Hardware Show and some of the auto show. I mean, you go on and on and on. There's only one show that I would even think that anybody would want to go to who has any self-respect. And that is maybe if you have a really hot piece of electronic, razzle dazzle, you might want to go to the Consumer Electronics Show, because you'll be amidst a bunch of similar souls who are trying to get their new device out there. But other than the Consumer Electronics Show, which is a consumer-oriented show, that speaks well for it. Other than that show, a lot of these other shows, they are not shows for the solo independent inventor. And so these shows get promoted by some of the large trade associations in the inventing industry, but you do not get a good bang for your buck. One of the things that I found very interesting about ASD. And it's the first show I've ever been to where I really enjoyed being there. I used to dread going to the trade shows, but this was the first show that I've been to, and I've been now. This will be the third year in a row. First of all, demographically, it's diverse. The people that are there are not giants. These are relatively small businesses, but they're very proactive. They're very engaged. They're very cordial. They're very accepting. There's no sense of standoffishness or, you're beneath me. None of that. It's one of the most egalitarian types of shows I've ever been to. And it's very exciting because people are alive. They're animated. They're energetic. And so spending your money at a trade show like that, finding those kinds of trade shows, that's the best way to spend your money, because you get an opportunity to actually press the flesh with other human beings, to shake their hand, to look them in the eyes, to see whether they really are serious about being interested in your product or not. They're very sharing in terms of the information they're willing to give you. So I've just been really tickled pink with the kind of reception that Rita and her inventors have gotten at ASD Market Week. And there might be other shows like that, but those are the kind of shows you're looking for. The shows that are not dominated by the large industry players, but in fact are much more open and much more engaging and much more accepting of smaller businesses. You want to go where there's smaller businesses, where you meet people like you who are interested because you're bringing them something new, because they're always looking for something new. Especially these retail stores are looking for something new, something jazzy, something to catch the consumer's eye. So to reiterate, bad registered patent attorneys or unregistered patent attorneys, that's the other thing. Don't let your unregistered friend do a patent for you, because we've learned through hard experience that the position of the United States Patent and Trademark Office is, if you file your own patent, and let's say a friend who's a pretty bright person actually helps you write it, and let's say that not only are they bright, but they actually happen to have some background in intellectual property, so they kind of know what they're doing. But if their name isn't on it, or if their name is on it and they're not registered, either way, if you file that patent can be invalidated. If you represent that you're filing pro se and somebody else has helped you with that patent, they can invalidate that patent. They've taken a very, very strong position on that. And I've actually battled the USPTO. I've done battle with them, with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, in an administrative proceeding. And I know how they operate. I know how they look at these things. So bad patent attorneys or attorneys who do patents that shouldn't be doing patents, that's one. The second one are large trade associations that profess to represent your interests. Now, not every inventor group is a bad group. There are lots of good groups, and Rita will tell you the names of those groups. I'm not talking about all inventor groups. What I'm talking about are the very large national ones that have a national footprint. Those are feeding arenas, and the food, the main meal is the solo independent inventor. Third, we have a social media, which can suck dollars down a rat hole. And then last but not least, we have marketing and marketing consultants. And it doesn't matter whether it's marketing research or marketing consultant, it's the same boat. And they will take your money and they'll drain it much quicker than if you would throw money boosting on social media, which you shouldn't do either, because it doesn't do anything for you. Basically, what boosting does, it brings these unwanted people to your picture or whatever it is you've loaded, and it just flows past their eyeballs. They don't even get engaged. They just hit the like button or they hit the love button, and they're on to the next thing. You want people who will stop, pay attention, spend some time. So if you're going to do social media, do it organically. It takes time. What you should do is learn one social media platform, learn the ins and outs of it, use some artificial intelligence, use one of those bots to help you craft your strategy for that particular platform, and focus only on that platform until you develop a following. Become an expert on that platform. And then once you become an expert on that platform, then you can go to the next one. But don't try to do all of them at once. It's impossible. And pick the one that's most likely going to give you a quicker return. Some platforms are suited for certain things. YouTube is a good one. It's fairly rational. TikTok is a great one, but the problem with TikTok is you got to be able to work the algorithm. So if you don't understand the algorithm and you don't understand the audience that's on there, your presentation won't go well. Facebook, it's kind of a dead letter now. Both Facebook and LinkedIn are trying to become video platforms. So if you post a link in a LinkedIn post or you post a link in a Facebook post, they will suppress your link. They'll suppress your presentation. In other words, with LinkedIn, if you put a link in the LinkedIn post, you'll only get 10% of the impressions that you would otherwise get. They basically suppress the showing of whatever it is you're posting. With Facebook, they completely hide you. So the way that you do that, if you're using LinkedIn or Facebook, is you post without any links, but you tell the people in the post if they want to click on your video or your website or whatever it is, you stick that in the comments. So you're the first one to put a comment in under your post, and you put your links in there because the links stay there, and LinkedIn doesn't hide the comment. What Facebook does is they hide the comment, but if you click the comment icon, it opens up and you can see the link in there. So you just tell your audience, look, Facebook hides comments, but the link is in the comments. So you got to hit the icon on the comment, and then my link will pop up and you can watch my video, or you can go to my site or whatever it is. Okay? Just some short tips about if you're going to use social media at all, do one social media platform at a time, and then make sure that you work that platform until you become really good at it and you have a following. And then you can think about the other ones after that. Hello, Michael. How are you?
Oh, you're muted, Mike.
You're muted.
I'm doing well. Thanks, Raymond.
There you are. There you
I
are.
was listening to you, but I couldn't get and connected like I am now. So thank you.
So at any rate, that's kind of what I have to say about it. Well, I'm going to turn it back to Rita, give her an opportunity to comment.
So, like I said, when we go to the show, and you were all going to the show, I'd like you to introduce yourself to each other, because I don't know that you guys were able to, really talk much at the briefing. So Winsley, I'm sorry, it's been a long, hard day. Winsley, introduce yourself and tell everybody what you've got.
My name is Winsley Richard, originally from the island of Grenada in the Caribbean. I came to America in 1988.
Okay.
I've been here since. I invented inflatable chute system. It's for like instead of using a fire escape in the building when there's a fire. So like inside the building now have like you see, like for example in a plane, when the plane crash, you push the lever down and the chute come out. Well, same way, but this one go have like when you go on the roller coaster and you're sliding through the tube, it's something similar like that. So you go be inside the wall.
Yeah.
So when you're looking from the street, you're not gonna see it. You're gonna see a window.
Right.
Inside, when you push the lever, it's gonna open and the chute gonna come out and go downwards towards the floor. So then you're gonna slide in and come out in the bottom on the ground floor.
Okay.
So it's really cool. All right. If you look at the idea that, right now you've got a door and stairs going down. Well, that becomes now, anybody that wants to break in is going to go up the stairs, but they get rusty. They get crickety. All right. Here you've got a chute that's being protected. All right. It's all closed in. And when there's an emergency, you hit the button, the chute goes out, you get in it, you slide down, you're safe. So it can take care of more people faster and more protected than going down a set of stairs. And the stairs are no longer then available for somebody to climb up them and break into the apartment building or whatever building is. So very good idea. And we're looking forward to showing you off, mainly because I want the different people at the convention center to see it. And so that'll be really good. Wendy, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Wendy, and I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I developed a little device to help hold a pacifier for a baby in the NICU. It's primarily to be used as a medical device because in the feeding, non-nutritive sucking is very important when they're not taking a bottle yet. And then when it's time for them to take a bottle, they don't know how. And it takes them a while to learn. So my device will help hold the passy so that they get that non-nutritive sucking and the muscles develop and things like that. So then the time to get them to take a bottle is less and they can go home from a NICU a lot faster.
Excellent. Excellent. Mike.
Yeah. So my name is Michael Wood. I'm from Connecticut. I've owned a gutter business for over 30 years in Connecticut here. And I have 3 products coming to the show. They're all gutter related. One particular is the gutter diverter, which we kind of capture all the water off the valley of the roof and make sure it goes into the gutter and not like destroying your flower beds or your foundation or rotting any wood. Our next product is called a guard sweep, and that is used from the ground up. So you would have a gutter on your home collecting the water off the roof, and that would be open and a lot of debris would get in there. So you would get a leak protection system to put on top, but that creates another problem. More debris kind of gets caught up on that. So we have something that you can use, an extension pole and a brush and a motor that you can use from the ground, and you would be able to clean off that debris from the ground, right? So we're not using any ladders and people are kind of being safe. And then our third product is a brand new product just came out. I've been working on it for the last 3 months, and it's called Tiger Strike. It's a professional gutter cleaning wipe. So if you ever see the black streaks on gutters from the roof and pollution, we use this wipe to clean it all off and make the gutters white again. And it's literally you wipe it on and you wipe it off, and it makes them all white. It's non-toxic, super safe. So 3 cool little products that we have in the gutter business. Yep.
So excellent. So I'm looking forward to, seeing all of you guys there. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of people that come by to try to sell you services. Most of them are marketing services, and, website services and social media, but you'll see some that are, oh, I can build you a better prototype, all of that kind of stuff. If you have a hard time getting away, some of them just will not be quiet. You can say, Rita, I need you to talk to this person, or, she's the boss, go talk to her, send them to me. I know a lot of them. I know how to get, move them along. And if I have trouble, Ray and I have a code word and he comes over, he's the traditional bouncer. But it is not unusual. And if you're, kind of aware of it, I know we had, the one year there was a gentleman there, and I knew he was there, and he'd sent somebody over to give us a hard time. And so I gave everybody a warning, and they said, well, what does he look like? I said, he is going to have the biggest smile. He is going to have on the most expensive suit and tell you everything you're doing wrong. And so one of the guys, he came up and the guy turned around and gave me a thumbs up, because that was him, and they recognized him right away. So it was really, an eye opener that, he did exactly what I warned everybody about. So we did get him to move on, and, the kind of the plant that he sent over as well. But the ASD folks are really good to us. They really, look out for us. They promote us. I have gotten all of your products now onto the dashboard. And it's funny because at one moment, Roy just logged on. His bottle station was on 6 times. I only loaded it once. And I'd put on, everybody else's, and 5 of them were missing. Well, then the next, time I log on, Mike is on for, 3 different products, but one was on 8 times and the other ones weren't on at all. So it's like, depending on, what time of day you're logging on, and I think, how fast you're breathing, more are going to show up and less. But I do have on show specials for anybody that had inventory to sell. So Mike, you're listed, Roy is listed, a few of the others that had inventory. Anybody that wants to be able to do, a demo of their product, I've got that list going out tomorrow. So, just getting there as fast as we can. And I will have all of the badges. If you go to get yours, they will tell you, no, somebody else came to get it. And where they say on that little email that you got that says, bring an ID, don't even worry about it, because I will have all of the badges if I have to climb over the desk and rip them out myself. Mainly because I've been doing this forever and, been there, done that, get cranky with them. So we paid a lot of money for me to be able to get those badges all at once. And so you guys wouldn't have to worry about it. Otherwise, you could be standing in line for 2 hours. And, you know, if I've got them, it takes 10 minutes for Cindy to walk out there and give it to you. So anyway, that's what we're looking at and stuff. So just, I leave tomorrow. Raymond and I fly out tomorrow night. We get in late Friday night, set up the house on Saturday, and I will be at the convention center first thing on Sunday morning to, you know, get the badges and start coordinating the move in. We go to get all of the stuff out of the storage unit, and then we go to the house where everything was brought in and get all of that stuff. So we're making a couple of different trips to get everything moved in. And hopefully, you know, there's been times, you know, back in the early days where security used to chase me through the door. So we've kind of grown up, so we got past that. So
What time do we meet Monday morning at the convention center?
Monday morning is set up. We try to be there around 8 o'clock.
Okay.
It depends some on traffic. The house that we're staying in is about 15 minutes away. But it really just depends on how traffic is on any given morning. So we try to be there about 8 o'clock for setup and stay until it's done. I mean, Monday's a long, hard day. We get as much done as we can on Sunday, but Monday is always, because most of you are coming in on Monday. So we get, you know, they lay down the carpet for us and all the electrical outlets. And then we get in, Ray puts up all the TVs and the monitors so that those are all ready to go. And we start putting up the tables. So we look at, you know, the different folks coming in, who's going to be there on Sunday to help. I think, Mike, you're coming in. You'll be there on Sunday, right?
That's correct. I'll be in there on Sunday. I have 3 booths to set up, so I'm not sure how much help I'll be with everybody else, but I'm going to try my best.
All right. So no, you'll be there because, you know, well, yeah, if you're not there to set up your booths, then, you know, I got to do it. So get your butt in there, would you please?
I will.
And so then I know that we've got like Ben will be in on, he gets in late Sunday, so he'll be there on Monday. So we'll go out and help him. He'll put his stuff in different bags and we'll carry him in. They're really not nice about carrying stuff across their threshold. Wendy, you've got a little one. I'm not worried about you getting across the threshold with your bag. Wensley, you know, you shipped everything out there, so the union will bring it in. And so it'll be there for you to set up when you get there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that Roy has shipped all of his stuff, so it'll be there when you get there. And, you know, if we've got to do 2 truckloads, we do. The union is we're nice to them. They're nice to us. It's, you know, goes a lot further than being nasty.
Well, also the union with the ASD Market Week show is a very different Freeman's union than the one that shows up for National Hardware Show, for instance.
Yeah.
Those people are incredibly nasty. And I think what happens is it filters down from the show itself. In other words, if the show is kind of a congenial, engaging, cordial type of environment, if it's truly that, everyone's a little bit more relaxed. And so even the Freemen are incredibly cooperative, very different. It's the same people. It's not like they bring a new union in. It's just that I think what must happen is the hardware show people must really give them a hard time. And so they take it out on the exhibitors. Well, this is not the case with the Freemen at ASD. It's amazing how cooperative they are.
Yeah.
And that's why I've come to really like the show, because it has that quality to it.
Well, if you just look at a very stark difference between the Reed Expo that does the National Hardware Show and ASD that does the show that we're going to, Emerald is the group that does ASD. All right. Well, with the National Hardware Show, if you have to pay the union to bring it in, or they will arrest you. If you try to carry it across the threshold, they will arrest you. With ASD, they write into the contract that you get so many free pounds carried in by the union.
Based on square feet, right?
Yeah. So that's a whole different ballgame then, because now we can pull our pickup around to the back. They come, they unload it, they put it on their vehicle, they bring it in, they put it in our booth, and then we set it up. And when the show's over, they go get it. All right. So very different, just very different attitudes on, you know, how they work with us and how they work, you know, we work with them. So if you had anything shipped in All right, then you will be the first to tear down on Thursday. And there is a FedEx station right there at the show. You will go and ship your stuff back to yourself. Okay. And that's the way we've always done that. So that you can go ahead and pack it the way you want it, get it over there, know where it's going, what's going on. All right. Any other questions, guys? Roy, introduce yourself. Tell everybody what you've got there when you're done eating dinner there. And because everybody else had a chance to introduce themselves. So go ahead, introduce yourself, and let me know if you've got any questions.
Hi, my name's Roy. My invention is the bottle station. Nice simple unit that I'm going to be showing to people with the 4 suction cups. Just press it down. It works that easy. And I have a patent on the spring tabs on the inside, right? And that's why it holds little 8-ounce, right? All the way up to, well, here's a 12-ounce Aveeno bottle.
Yep.
Right? Just push it right in and look at that. Right? So it's nice and simple. And that's what I'm promoting. I invented it as a result of losing my hand in a saw accident.
Mm.
And the bottles were very frustrating, falling over all the time. It even holds some round, right? For a boat, your Neutrogena sunscreen, right? And so I kind of call it my lemonade from lemons, right? Make something positive out of, something bad. So that's my invention that I'm really hoping to get a deal on. It's nice and simple, 100% USA made, and just real proud to be able to show it.
Good.
Well, we are really glad
Thank you, Rita.
have you along with us. So does anybody have any questions? Well,
I do. A lot of times there's a networking event that needs tickets. So I recognize the booth is, registered with you, but are we going to be privy to
they'll let you know what's going on. There'll be stuff that's posted.
Okay.
You'll be able to get on with your badge number. You should have that now. If you don't, I'm having, I've got them all printed out. So, a few of the emails that folks use, like I think you had responded to Cassia, Mike, when she said she couldn't get, hers didn't work. It's because her email didn't work.
I was trying to help her out. Yeah.
Under one of my more obscure emails just to get her badge going. But then I was able to go ahead and re-register her today with a CC of her email address, whatever. But you'll be able to log in with your badge number and be able to see what's available. Some of the things, Roy, you might need to get a ticket for. Some of them will be free. It just really depends on what it is and where you're going. I'm usually exhausted and I go home to bed. But it just really depends on, what's going on and, where it's at. That's the other thing, is that they'll have events, at one of the casinos. And a lot of times those are more aggressive ones. If they're doing it at the convention center, those are usually free.
And I caution you, I would be really careful about events that aren't actually affiliated with ASD, because you want a filter. There'll be all sorts of people who might want to sell you things, and they may be of very little utility to you. So just be careful that you can rely, I think, on any event that's affiliated with the ASD. It may not be free. It may very well be free, because you are all exhibitors. So you have like preferred status, if you will, at the show. You're not just a walk-in from the consuming public. But be real careful about shows or events that aren't actually affiliated with ASD.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. And I just want to add this, Rita, that if it will help the cause, let them know that you have an amputee that's exhibiting in your booth, and a lot of times there's some coattails that, so.
Well, I am all about riding coattails, and just, to give you a little bit of insight, sometimes, there will be areas in that exhibit hall where you can go and sit. All right. And stuff. But the cool thing is that there's other people sitting there. So don't sit at a table by yourself. Sit down where there's other people. Introduce yourself. What brings you here? What booth are you in? What do you do? You never know who you are going to meet. I have met really cool people in the restroom because I talk to anybody and everybody. But you just never know when you're standing in a line someplace who's standing next to you. So you visit with anybody and everybody. And
did you all see the things that people do at trade shows that they shouldn't do? Did you show them that?
I sent it out to everybody.
Yeah, okay.
Avoid
all of the things that you shouldn't do. So if you can figure out what you should do from what you shouldn't do, you'll be fine.
Yeah. That's why somebody says, well, do you have chairs for everybody in the booth? And I said, no, you're there to work and sit and meet people face to face, eye to eye contact. You don't want to be looking at their belly button when they walk by. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, I get it now. But, when you need to sit down, not everybody can stand all day. For sure. But you go and you sit at one of the concession tables. They've got great big round tables, and there will usually be other people there. Sit down where there's people and visit, ask why they're there, tell them what you've got, invite them over to see the booth, do all of those kinds of things. And you'll meet a lot of people. And for the events that are there at the convention center, by all means, go enjoy yourself, do your thing.
And if you folks have not seen any of the testimonials that I've actually put on the internet, you should go to either Invent America TV, and you'll see some of those testimonials. Or there's actually links on LinkedIn, on Rita's LinkedIn account, and you'll actually see people who attended ASD Market Week. And what you'll see again and again and again is how exuberant they are and how much they really appreciated being there. Like there's one guy that I love. He's this somewhat stocky fella, and he's terrific. He talks from the heart, and he goes, ASD, if you got a business, if you want to sell a business, if you want to do this, this is it. ASD, this is the best place to be for networking. I mean, he really means it. He's genuine about it. I've never seen anything like that from the National Hardware Show, quite honestly.
Oh, no.
So
well,
check out some of those testimonials.
ASD, to give you kind of an idea of how they are to work with, is that I will not be doing a booth like this. This is the last one that I will be doing, because next year they are going to take over the Innovation Pavilion. So the inventors then will get their own smaller spot. So it won't cost you like a 10 by 10, that you'll be able to get a smaller spot. And then I will go out there and encourage folks. There'll be sponsors on the radio show, but I will be a speaker on stage next year. And so they're taking over then a lot of what I've been doing, and will help then with the advertising. We'll still do the advertising, but the sign up will be done by you directly through them. And I will still be then promoting the show and the inventors and all of that kind of stuff. So the relationship with them is very healthy and growing, because they know buyers out there, they know what's old, they want to see what's new.
And remember, you have five different types of creatures there. You have wholesalers, you have distributors, you have manufacturers, you have retail store owners, and then you have consumers. You're basically have the entire world of consumption out there, and you can test your invention with each of those segments. Where else can you do that? A lot of shows exclude consumers completely.
How are you distinguishing between them? Obviously I want to talk to more retailers and wholesalers than I do. Well, how do you distinguish between them? Is there a way? Did you ask them straight up? I mean,
you ask them.
Is it on their badge?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not on the badge. You generally don't know for sure, attendees, on the badge, but you ask. It's like, what brings you to the show? I'm a buyer for,
Right.
My husband's here and working, and, I paid for a ticket off the street. Everybody last year who had inventory sold it all. And, some of them were wholesale and some of them were consumers. Okay.
Huh.
With you, Mike, they'd be placing orders.
Fantastic.
Roy, they can buy and walk away.
Right.
Winsley doesn't have any for sale yet.
Place
So,
orders.
It's there's a lot of different folks out there, and there's a lot of different the people, the buyers, what they represent. There were actually less predators at ASD than there were at the National Hardware Show when I would go.
Yeah. I agree with that too.
That was,
What question? I'm sorry, maybe you answered this already, but what kind of level are we talking about? I mean, what's the highest wholesaler or like the smallest guy's the smallest guy, right? The one-man shop. But what can we expect as far as
Ace,
like a big box store?
Oh yeah, they're all there.
They're all there.
They're all there. Yeah, Ace
Well,
Hardware.
it's not a show dominated by the big box stores, though.
No, it's not.
No.
They're
It's a show dominated by smaller businesses, mid-sized businesses and small businesses. That's the show, really.
Yeah.
The people that buy from perhaps the larger outlets like Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the big box stores. That's
And
one
the
of
people that are in those, I'm sorry, Roy. Go, Raymond.
that's one of the beauties of it, because the truth is, people from Home Depot that go to a large trade show are not looking for licensees. They're not. They're not looking for people to license their product. They're there to basically show whatever it is they have. They have their own people that actually look for, those kinds of products, if they even look for them. And actually, most of them don't even do that. They work with distributors who've managed to, clear the field and identify those products that they want to take on because they happen to complement their existing product line.
Right.
So your opportunities are actually greater here to actually have a connection than you would at some of the trade shows where you have the big box stores.
Right. So it's not really going to be the box store. It'd be the people that are already in the box store that would want to grab you and bring you in and kind of channel you in,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
You
you have those kind of people there and
Wow.
wholesalers, right?
You don't want to be going directly to the Home Depot.
No.
You want, if Home Depot says, we'd really love to have this product, you want to know who supplies you with these kind of products, because you could sell 50,000 units at a Home Depot and get an invoice instead of a check. They know how to play the game. You want to be going through someone. And I know a couple of the guys. Kevin Cody is one of the big ones that sells e-commerce, and he sells to them.
Will he be
and
there?
A couple of other guys that do that.
Will
Roy?
Kevin be there? I would love to meet him.
No, I've got a meeting with him on the 23rd, but it's from here. But some of his, I don't know that any of his folks are going to be there, but easy introduction. And he's going to be working with Mike from Pronto Launch as well. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep,
So
yep.
there we go. That's fine. Okay.
I just also wanted to share that on that note, on that same exact note, what I was just made privy to is like the bottle station. I'm trying to get it into catalogs, right? So people have been telling me, well, contact the catalog people and everything like this. No, wrong. 100% wrong. The catalog person does not make things, okay? They are a jobber. All they do is list other people's products. A catalog company is not going to do a whole photo shoot with the bottle station, print it into their catalog. I don't have $10 million in sales, right? They're not going to take up catalog space with my product. It's not proven, millions sold, etc., right? So instead of me focusing on the catalog people, exactly what you all were just alluding to. Contact a company that already has products in the catalog. They have the catalog guy's ear. And so instead of worrying about the catalogs, start looking at who is listed in the catalogs and call those companies, because if they like your product, they'll add it to their line and they're already in the catalog. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What you're talking about
seems
is
really simple, but it was like, wow, that's 100% right. Contacting catalog people is an act of futility.
Yeah.
It is the companies that are already in there.
Right.
There's a lot of different ways to build interest in your product. Okay. For instance, let's say you have consumers who like Mike's product.
Right.
Okay. They see your product. All of a sudden they start asking the retail store, do you carry this product? The retail store starts asking its seller, its wholesaler, do you have this product? And what happens is it goes backwards. It doesn't go down, it goes backwards. So what I love about this show is you have these wholesalers there, you have these distributors there, you have retail stores there, but you also have consumers. And guess what? Networking among them will do more for you, especially you, Winsley, especially you. You should get as much feedback as you can get from as many different types of entities that are there as possible, okay? Because you never know where the touch point is to enter the market. It could be the consumer. It could be a wholesaler. It could be a manufacturer. You just don't know. And that's one of the things I hear again and again from the testimonials from ASD. You just don't know where this opportunity will come from. If you network like mad, if you have a good attitude, if you're positive and up, and I will tell you one thing, this is what I found too. It is much easier to be happy when you feel happy. And when you feel happy and you are happy, guess what? Other people are happy.
Yeah.
When you're at a show like National Hardware Show and they're stiff arming you and you feel like you're being abandoned or dismissed or you're not welcome, it affects your attitude. And if your attitude is kind of introverted and withdrawn and you feel like you don't belong, you're not going to be much of a presence and your networking is going to be worthless. But if you feel good about yourself because people seem nicer or at least more willing to listen or more willing to take some time to just hear you out, all of a sudden you start to build your confidence, your self-esteem, you start feeling better. Guess what? Your presentation's much better. And when your presentation is much better, you're more convincing.
Well, I think Winsley's prototype is wonderful because it really shows the way it pops out of the wall and slides down and saves everybody's life. And, you know, less expensive to build, you know, than the stupid iron stairs that get all rusty and the screws start coming out, or you've got a bad guy that crawls up and breaks in. So now Ian was so excited when he did your prototype, Winsley, because he said, oh my God, this should have been done decades ago. So, you know, cool. And being able to get the feedback, because you never know who stops to look and who he's connected to. It could be, you know, some huge contractor in the construction world, or it could be Mike Wood, who knows somebody in the construction world. You never know who is standing next to you and who can introduce you to somebody. So that's what we do. So, all right, everybody, I will see you in a few days. I try to keep these meetings to 1 hour. So, you know, you got one more question, Roy, throw it out there.
I want to say that, isn't that the ultimate compliment for you, Rita? Here, you on your own were doing this kind of like private endeavor, right? You know, and putting out money and organizing all this stuff for inventors. The people that own the show saw what you were doing.
Yes, they did.
And now they want to do what you have been doing. I just think when you said that, I just think that is one of the highest compliments that you could put on your resume, that they copied what you were doing.
And they want you to
like-
stick around. And they want you there to
they
do
don't
more.
want
So
they want to, you know, they want me to work with them on it. So
I get it, but it was your concept.
It was just,
Right.
you know, so we'll go out and we'll shop shows to see what products are there and talk on the stage to the inventors, but they want to grow their inventor arena.
Yeah, they do.
The people
I
know
love it. I love it.
labeled as being, you know, the sellout crowd. They want to be the innovative crowd now, and they want to change their profile. And I am just thrilled like crazy that we'll get to.
I bet.
And when we talk about predators, that's one place where they aren't predatory. It's the only trade show I've ever been to. I've been to the Consumer Electronics Show with a client. I mean, I've been to the National Hardware Show, the Auto Show. I mean, a lot of the shows I've been to. This is the one show that I've been to where if the topic of tonight's meeting was con men and crooks and predators, this is one show where you can go to where you aren't being victimized because they're not predatory at all. They're just a trade show that wants to grow. And that's kind of encouraging.
I think the only other one I went to that I did not meet a lot of predators was the National Asphalt Show, because there weren't enough people there to be predators. But it was a very good show for the inventor I went with, but you know, it was in a high school gymnasium, just to give you an idea of the size of it. So anyway, Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to see you all. And I will see you all in just a couple of days. Go and get a good night's sleep and bring your work boots.
Peace out.
Thank you, Rita.
Talk to you later, gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.